Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Monday, the 7th day of July 2025. I hope you're all safe and healthy today, and I hope you enjoyed your long weekend if you had one, and I hope you enjoyed your weekend otherwise, and that you and your family are safe and healthy, and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in health, along with first responders, every day trying their best to save lives. Those also that pick up garbage, keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover. Teenagers and children that are victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People that are helping those that are victims of pornography, child pornography, prostitution, child prostitution, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators of these things, those who profit from these things, and the perverts that create the great demands that cause these things to exist. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, and veterans homeless in the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. Today, I want to focus because we're getting ready to go into Summer League. But with Summer League, we need to understand what everybody that's coming into Summer League and some of the veterans are fighting for in terms of place on the team. What do I mean by that? Really, I'm talking about the money. I needed to understand more clearly what the Knicks have, what is available, and what do they have to pay. So right now, I found a good article, if you want to call it, on X that Ian Begley had reposted from Bobby Marks. I don't always agree. In fact, most times I don't agree with what Bobby Marks' opinions are, but numbers don't lie. People lie, numbers don't lie. And so Bobby Marks posted the numbers in terms of what the Knicks have available. Bottom line is this. This is, I'm going to put this link in the description box of today's video. Bottom line is the Knicks have 2 roster spots right now, okay? And they have 3 two-way spots. Now, right now, as I'm speaking to you, the 3 two-way spots are taken up by 3 players. Right now, you have Anton Watson, Marjon Beauchamp, and Kevin McCullough. They take up the 3 two-way spots. Now, the reason I bring up the two-way positions is that two-way players do not count against the salary cap. So the two-way contract allows the Knicks to control the rights of the player. So in this case, Beauchamp, McCullough Jr., and Watson, their rights are controlled by the Knicks without counting them toward the cap. But of course, these players are limited into how many games they can appear with the Knicks on the regular during the regular season, which I think is 50. So, but the important point of it here is they do not count against the cap. So in a sense, the Knicks could use the two-way contract as a way of keeping control of a player, paying that player, developing that player, and not have that player's salary count against the salary cap. Right now, the Knicks are in a position where they are about $6 million below the second apron. And they're hard capped. They cannot go over the second apron at all. They're not even allowed to, okay? As it now stands, the Knicks will have to pay $22 million in luxury tax because of going over the first apron. So they're about $6 million over the first apron. And based on that $6 million over the first apron, they're going to pay $22 million in tax. This is not a big deal right now, because the Knicks are in championship contention. Teams don't mind paying luxury tax when either they A, win a championship, or B, are in the position to win a championship. And the Knicks are B. So they'll pay the $22 million. And $22 million is a lot of freaking money, but not for the New York Knicks and MSG that are worth over $1 billion, right? So they can pay that. So for now, that's not a problem. But what is a problem is the limitations on how many spots are left. So right now, they have 2 roster spots. 2, that's it. So they have 12 guys are on the roster right now. Jordan Clarkson, and then of course Yabusele's added to the roster that already includes Towns, Anunoby, Brunson, Bridges, Hart, Robinson, McBride, Daddier, Kolick, and Hooporti. That's your roster. So those guys are safe. The only way any of those guys are not safe is if the Knicks traded them. Okay, and if they did trade them, I'm gonna tell you right now, before you guys start going off on your fantasies, they would be trading a lower paid player for picks just to get rid of the salary. For example, any player, and I'm not going to name anything because I don't want y'all to start tripping, but if they were going to take a player that makes somewhere in the $2 million range and trade that player to a team that can absorb the $2 million contract and give the Knicks back, let's say, 2 second-round picks, that would add $2 million to what the Knicks could spend. Okay? So that's the only way these players are not safe. For the record, though, I think all of these guys are not going anywhere. So we can stop all that. I just wanted to let you guys know that. So they have 2 spots available. And right now, there's 10 players vying, or 8 players vying for those 2 spots. So right now, you have Achua, some guy named Kaponen that they have his rights, and they have a cap hit of $2.7 million on him. He's 37 years old. That's just numbers on paper that's going to disappear. But anyway, let's just name the 8 players. Chua, Kaponen, Shamet, Payne, Tucker, Wright, Watson, Beaucamp, McCullough. These 8 guys plus Diawara and Najee. So you got those 2 also. These 10 guys are going to be fighting for 2 spots. Okay? Let me say it again. These 10 guys are going to be fighting for 2 spots. There's only 2 roster spots and 3 two-way spots. Okay? So the two-way spots are not guaranteed for anybody. So in other words, Beauchamp, McCullough, and Watson could lose their spots to another guy that comes in and they decide, we're going to waive this two-way player and sign this two-way player. They can do that, okay? Because one of the reasons the two-way contract does not count against the cap is because it's not guaranteed. So you could lose that spot. So now you have 10 guys plus others that are going to come in, but I don't think anybody else aside from Diawara and Najee are going to come in and threaten any of these guys. No, out of these 10 guys, you're going to get 3 two-way players and 2 roster spots. This summer league becomes extremely important for everybody. Now, one guy that can get a guaranteed spot is Landry Shamet. Okay, so let's talk about the money. So with respect to the money, what Marks brought out very accurately is that first, as I just said, there's 2 spots available. And because of what they signed Yabusele to, they have $3.7 million to spend on those 2 spots. It's not 3.7 for one guy. It's $3.7 million for 2 spots. One of them is a veteran minimum at about 2.3, and the other one is the second round exception. They get to sign their second round pick. In this case, it was Diawara at 1.3 or 1.27 to be exact. So they have a second round roster exception. So that's going to go to a second round pick or somebody that's coming in like a Najee or Diawara, right? And then you have a vet minimum, which would be Shamet if he wants it. And I bring that up to say he might be able to get $3.5 million from another team. Okay? And some people like to take the position always with the Knicks that call themselves Knicks fan is that the Knicks somehow messed up. The Knicks just let him go. The Knicks got rid of him. None of that is true. It's money. Okay, and the Don, to say anything that the Knicks messed up with respect to money is to disrespect the excellent job that the Knicks front office has done to put us in this position to win a chip and be able to afford all of this talent that we got. So that's not it. But Shamet is an important piece. And so if Shamet gets an offer from another team. And look at yourself. If you were getting $2.3 million, you'd be happy. But if some team said, I'm going to offer you 3.5 or more, you're going to take that. Okay? So right now, Shamet is an unrestricted free agent, and he's not, and the Knicks do own his bird rights. So they own his bird rights, and he's not exactly an unrestricted free agent in this sense, but he don't have a contract. So I am 100% sure that right now, as I'm speaking to you, the Knicks front office led by the Don is negotiating with Landry Shamet's reps. So, but it's not that complicated. If Shamet wants to come back, his salary is going to be $2.3 million. Okay, and it's close to it's 2.2 something, right? But it's going to be close to 2.3 million. That's going to be his salary. Now, every NBA player, particularly a guy in his prime, like Landry Shamet, wants long-term security. That's what they're looking for, okay? So to play another year for the Knicks on a guaranteed one-year deal, you're kind of risking everything, right? Because if you get hurt, last year he hurt his shoulder, right? And missed a lot of time. That cost him money. If Landry Shamet had played the whole year last year, he would have been much better than he was. And he was good, daggone. But it cost him money. Okay? So when we're talking about like a guy like a Shamet that has earned $31 million in his career, he made pretty good living here in the NBA. But he's just coming into his prime. This is when he's supposed to get his prime year money right here. So he wants to get paid. So Shamet basically has, to make this long story short, he has two choices. He can come to the Knicks and play for the $2.3 million on a team that wants him and needs him, where he knows he's going to get minutes, important minutes. And then next year, negotiate for a long-term deal. Or he can take probably a 2-year deal. He could probably get 2-year, $7 million deal from somebody. Or he can get somebody's $5 million mid-level exception that Yabusele just got for the Knicks. That's his choices. Now, if you're Landry Shamet, you're looking for the 5-point-something million mid-level exception from somebody. If you can't get that, you're looking to see if you can get the $3.5 million from somebody. Very few teams right now are offering anybody that. They're all going to be looking in that 2-point-something million range. That means there's a high probability, not guaranteed, that Shamet comes back to the Knicks. If all that's in the open market right now for him is the 2-point-something million, he might as well stay in New York, where he's got a guaranteed rotation spot. He's going to get minutes. He's going to get his opportunity to shine. He just has to stay healthy so that next year he can get paid. Age 28 going in 29, he can get paid. Right now he's 27 going on 28. He has to take this risk. So my view is, and I don't know what every team's money situation is. I get an idea, but just looking at the landscape. But if there's nobody out there willing to offer him the $3.5 million, he's coming back to New York. And that would be good. So that means this: if Shamet comes back to New York, and we will find this out very quickly, the end of this week, I think. So if Shamet comes back to New York, that leaves one roster spot and 9 guys fighting for it. If Shamet comes back to New York, okay? And if Shamet does not come back to New York, I am very confident that they can give DeLon Wright that $2 million and he'll take it, because DeLon Wright is 33. He's at the end of his career. Where versus Shamet is 28. He's looking for the most money he can get while he's in his prime. Two different situations here. DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet, two different type of players, but Wright, as we saw last year, is extremely dependable. Solid. Not a superstar. Don't make a lot of mistakes. Play good defense. Moves the ball well. Moves without the ball well. All of those things you want from a vet coming off your bench. So I think you can get DeLon Wright for the 2.3. You can't have both of them. You only got 2 roster spots. And you can't keep both. One of them is a rookie contract. So you can only get one of them unless you trade somebody and create another $2 million. And I don't think they're going to do that, but we don't know yet. trading Achua doesn't mean anything. Achua is an unrestricted free agent. I don't even think they're going to trade him. I think Achua can walk for nothing. All unrestricted free agents can walk for nothing. That is Achua, Shamet, Payne, Wright. They can all walk away for nothing. Okay? So Achua can get the best deal he can from any team he wants and sign with that team with no repercussions to the Knicks. The Knicks do own his bird rights, but they're not going to pay him. You know, I mean, he's got an $11 million cap hit. He ain't getting that in New York right now. So, and he's not even getting the mid-level exception because they just gave it to Yabusele. So he's going to go wherever he wants to go. The Knicks have a right to match, but they won't be able to. So Achua is probably gone. And you're going to get either Wright or Shamet. You're not going to get both. You're going to have either Wright or Shamet. Everybody has their druthers. I'd be happy with either guy. I like Shamet because he is younger. He's a tremendous three-point shooter, and he plays tremendous defense in his prime. And we're going to need this guy, especially if he can stay healthy all year, especially coming into next year's playoffs. We're going to need him. So I'd say the chances are very high, extremely high, that the Knicks can either get Shamet or Wright. So you're going to get one of them. I think there's a 90% chance you get one of them. There's probably a 70% chance you get Shamet back. I think. Very high percentage. About 70%. Because I don't know what the landscape is and who might offer him a little bit more money than the Knicks could offer him. So we'll see. So it's really, that's where we're at right there. So then you'll have one spot left. And you have 9 guys trying to get one roster spot. And that, a large part of that is going to be determined by what you see in Summer League. Okay? So Najee is playing for the roster spot. Diawara kind of got the spot because he got picked 51. So he's going to get, his deal is already slotted. He just has to prove he's able to play in the NBA. So he's going to get his $1.3 million just for being the 51st pick. Okay, so he just has to prove he's ready to play in the NBA. If he does, he's going to get a spot. But then you're left with 3 two-way spots. So let's assume, for the sake of argument, for our hypothesis, you get Shamet back. And then let's assume you sign Diawara. So now your roster's set. There's your 2 spots right there. Now you got 3 two-way players. And you're dealing with McCullough, Beauchamp, Watson, right? All of those guys are vying for the 3 two-way play. They already got them, but then you still got Najee, right? You still got Najee. You still got Diawara. They could make him a two-way player if they wanted to. And then you got other guys that are coming that are coming from overseas and all that. So it's going to be tight for the two-way spot. It's going to be tight. It's going to be a tight fit. Somebody's going to lose their spot. Somebody's going to lose their spot. So there's really right now 3 guys on two-way contracts, but you're bringing in Najee, who could really, I mean, we don't know. He could win a roster spot, depending on how good he is. We don't even know. He's a total wild card. We don't even know. So we have to see how this works out. But there's going to be somebody losing their two-way spot. There's 4 guys vying for 3 two-way spots. Somebody's losing their spot. Okay, we don't know. The good thing is that Daddier, Kolick, and Hooporti are locked in. We got them. So they're not even included in losing their spot unless they just fall on their face completely and just look terrible and then they get cut. But likely those 3 guys will remain. So you're dealing with either Wright or Shamet coming into one of the last 2 spots. Then you got Diawara unless he falls on his face and they don't offer him a contract and he becomes a two-way player. So that's the threat to Watson, Beauchamp, and McCullough. It's Diawara and Najee. So if Najee is really all that, he might win a roster spot. And that knocks Diawara down into a two-way. Because they're not going to cut Diawara. They've done all kind of background on him. He's going to be on the Knicks. It's a question of, is he going to be a two-way player? Is he going to be a draft and stash guy? Which I don't even know that's going to happen because he was picked 51. So I don't know. But if he is a two-way player, he takes one of the spots from either Watson, McCullough, or McClure. He's going to take one of those spots. It depends on how McCullough. I said McClure. McCullough. It depends on what happens. So this summer league is very important. Overall, the Knicks roster is pretty set. Like I said, we're talking end of the roster, end of the rotation situation. So we're dealing with either Wright or Shamet. We're dealing with a Najee or Diawara, what we're talking about at the end of the day. So, or Beaucamp. Beaucamp could ball out and win a spot. Or not and get cut. This summer league is extremely important. But they got 2 roster spots and 3 two-way spots. So you got basically, again, 10 guys going for 2 roster spots and 10 guys trying to hang on to 3 two-way spots. It's going to be a dogfight within these guys this summer league to see who gets what. Everybody's going to be coming for blood, and that's going to be good for the Knicks. So you're going to see who rises to the top. The Knicks can't lose here. They can't lose. They're going to get a player that's hungry to play and comes ready to play, whoever it is. And we're going to see starting 5 days from now. We're going to see. But I'm pretty confident they will end up with either Shamet or DeLon Wright. They're going to end up with one of them, depending on what Shamet's really the key here. What can he get in the open market? Is it more than $2.3 million? We'll see. We'll see. But that's the money situation. 10 guys looking for 2 spots. That's always tough, right? That's what it is, though. And so somebody losing a spot. We're going to find out. Y'all enjoy your Monday. Shalom.